Hi, I'm Ping. Welcome to my kitchen. This is my playground, my workplace, and this is where I feed my family as well. Today we're going to do a take on my mom's favorite street food in Malaysia called curry puffs. It's easy to cook for families, and I cook this a lot for my family, just to reminisce on the flavors of Malaysia and also to introduce my kids to spice as well. This pie uses very simple ingredients, as you can see here. In Malaysia, you can get them with meat and without meat. So today we're just going to do potatoes with onions, and it's just incorporated with loads of spices, and children and adults both enjoy it. First thing we're going to do, we're going to prep our ingredients. We're going to peel these lovely potatoes. I'm using Maris Piper here. We're just going to peel them. This. I usually get my 8-year-old to help me do this. She'll help peel the potatoes. We're just peeling the sweet potatoes now. So in Malaysia, we eat a lot. We eat on average of 6 times a day, I would say. And curry puffs feature a lot. Morning, afternoon, it could be at night. If you can't finish it, it's great for packed lunch, other lunch the next day. That's potatoes done. Right, what we want to do is we're going to dice these potatoes, and I always say tuck your fingers in like that, and we want to actually cut it as evenly as possible. So we want to actually cut it in slices, maybe 1 centimeter thickness. Oh, that's my cat. Hi Roxy, decided to come and join us, have you? Right, so onto the sweet potatoes. Just be careful when you're cutting sweet potatoes. They're much harder, and they're uneven. So sometimes if you slip, you might cut your fingers. So cut them down into smaller pieces to actually work with. And it doesn't need to be perfect, just as evenly as possible. So let's cut this as well. I had my first daughter, Alexa, in 2012. I got to remember her birthday then. When I was ready to go back to work, it just didn't happen, and I was made redundant. And my friend sent me an application form for MasterChef, say with the caption of "Do it," and I have so much fun. It was one of the best things that I've done. When you have your first child and you feel like your whole world has changed, and you just want to do something other than, kind of look after your child and goo gaga, not having a proper conversation. So when MasterChef come along, it was really good to actually build that confidence again. So we're gonna go on to onions now. So we want to have like 2 white onions. If you have red onions, shallots, doesn't matter, just use what you've got. But I've got some white onions here, just cut down. Everyone has got a different way of cutting onions. Just do it what's comfortable for you. We're just gonna dice it, just cut down to the size that I want, thickness wise. Oh my gosh, my God. Every time. You know, for Christmas this year, I wanna have those onions goggles that looks like Dame Edna. So we have all the veg prep. We're gonna fry off the onions with some sunflower oil. It's about 2 tablespoons here. And we don't want too much of heat. We want to fry them, and we need to soften them, but we don't want to burn them. And we want all the oil kind of glaze all the onions so that it's kind of hugs the onions a little bit so that it fries evenly. When I first started cooking, there are so many terms that I have to learn, like sweat the onions. What do I sweat an onion? So this is how you sweat an onion. So we are going to use a tablespoon of curry powder. A lot of people say to me, "Oh, does your mum teach you how to cook? So lovely." She didn't really. I observe her, and every time I ask her about something, for example this, "How much curry powder do I put in, mum?" She'll say, "I don't know, agak-agak." Agak-agak in Malaysian is say, guess. So the onions, as you can see, has taken on the curry powder. So we just continue frying it a bit. And the next thing we want to put is curry leaves. They come in stalks like that, and it really does add that beautiful aroma. As you can hear, that's this pop as well. it is sizzling, it's hitting the pan, and it's kind of crispening up. So we have been frying these onions and curry leaves, and as you can see, these curry leaves has crispened up a little bit, and also the onions has relaxed. I like to describe it as like, it's kind of like slouchy. So the diced potatoes that we have prepped earlier on, just the whole thing goes in there. And you can see the potatoes are taking on the color of the spices as well. Now at this point, you want to season your mixture. So salt, 1.5 teaspoons. And sugar, because it balances out all the saltiness that we put in it. Cooking is all about balance. So just 1 teaspoon of sugar, and then we want to gently fold this in. We just want to add some water here. I mean, don't worry, it just looks like a lot of water, but once it's simmered down, all the potatoes will absorb that water to help it soften. What we want to do is bring it up to the heat when it's boiling, and then we'll turn it down to a gentle simmer. And also, very importantly, I always say, always taste, taste, taste. So now that's simmering, you can let it do its thing. We've got some frozen spinach here, and it's so useful to have frozen spinach. It's easy to keep in your freezer. You can use fresh spinach as well if you have some, but frozen spinach is my go-to because it's just so easy to use. What we're going to do is we're going to squeeze out as much water as possible and then chop it down. So I just have grab a handful that I have washed my hand, don't worry, and just squeeze out. And you just want to actually just roughly chop them, okay? We're just going to fold in this spinach and finish off. So this is reduced now, as you can see, it's thickened up. The water is being absorbed by the potatoes. If you want to see how the potatoes is, just get one and kind of like run your spoon in it and kind of cut straight through. So they're tender, but they're not mushy. Just scatter them around like that. As soon as you fold it through, you can actually turn off the heat and let it cool. So I'm just using a flat pan just so that it cools quicker. You can use a bowl if you have, anything that you have at hand really. So you can now set it aside to cool. So cheese. In Malaysia nowadays, they just add cheese onto everything they touch, they have cheese, and it really boosts the flavor of the spices. My mom actually do not ever like cheese apart from curry puffs. Some cheddar, some parmesan, and we're just gonna fold this into our cool mixture, which is here. I can't help but just eat some because you do. It seems a lot, but it's good. Just fold it in like that. And what we're going to do now is to actually assemble our pie. I've got a rectangular tray here. I've got some melted butter here. Brush all over the rectangular pan. And then it's an assemble job. And I just lay over half of the pan and let this dangle like that. Just brush a little bit over this overlapping point here and overlap half of the other side like so. Dangle it so that it sticks to the corner. We want to actually brush over the pastry on this side and then cover this way. The link to the full recipe is below. That's one layer done. We want to continue with the second layer so that it's got that crisp, or else it'll be too thin. That's ready to fill with all the lovely fillings that we have prepared earlier. And then using your spoon, just smooth it over, making sure that they are evenly spread. And what we want to do is to fold those hanging pastry onto the filling to cover it. Kind of scrunchy so that it has that beautiful look on top. I've got an extra sheet here. If you've got some extra pastry, it's good to just scrunch it up like that. It's like a tissue paper and just plonk it on top. So the last thing we want to do before we pop it in the oven is some nigella seeds. It's got this amazing aroma that mirrors the spices in the mixture. So, and also it looks pretty awesome. Here we're going to put it in the oven for an hour and a half, and go and grab yourself a glass of wine, a cup of tea, whatever you fancy. Here it is. Look at how beautiful it is. And it smells amazing. I want to show you the inside as well, so moment of truth. Can you hear that? Look at that. Gooey, crispy on the outside, gooey on the inside, all cheesy, melty. So here is, this is my giant curry puff inspired by my childhood and my mum's favorite snack.